Hello, everyone. Welcome to Between the Pot and the Hard Place. I'm Stephen Colton.
And I'm Christopher Patrick.
I wanted to try something a little different that time. I wanted to go straight into it. And I don't know.
That works.
I almost forgot to change my audio settings from speaker to headphone. So there would have been a huge, weird echo kind of thing going on. Mostly because the speakers are literally right next to the microphone.
Okay.
But yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I feel like this has been one of those weeks where I just haven't stopped. We just got back from our vacation late Tuesday, and I had to go back to work first thing Wednesday morning. And then I started teaching summer school Thursday.
Oof. So
there really has been no rest for the wicked.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to start off, and I noticed because I was following your trip on Facebook and everything, being up in DC, and pretty good timing, I would think. Because today is the Happy Birthday America.
It really is.
And you might hear some explosions going on in the background. I don't know how much that's going to pick up because people around here, like all day, it's just boom, 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 boom. So it's kind of cool. I just wanted to say that Happy Birthday, America. And it was really cool that, like looking at your pictures and seeing the videos and stuff, it's definitely, definitely something I want to do one day. I wish I could have made it happen this time, but the way things went down, we talked about that before, one day though, one day. It would have been really cool to sit at Abraham Lincoln's feet and do a podcast, but
that would have been amazing. I will tell you that, my wife and I, we've been married for going on 21 years, and we have always dreamed about going and seeing our nation's capital, and finally we were able to do it. I think we just got tired of having this bucket list that never got any shorter. And so for us, we just were like, it's time for us to stop making excuses. Let's see as much family as we can. Let's go and see as many touristy places as we can. And I'm just so glad we did it.
Right. I mean, it's awesome. I know I don't have any pictures ready or anything like that, but, I was putting together some notes and talking about, like, I've been trying to get more active on Twitter. Not that we weren't active before, but me personally, I've been trying to interact and like throw out, not just like, thanks for listening or watching, we like you, but actually like pose questions and like, what do you like? What is this? What is that?
Yeah.
And I remember we tweeted out like, what's your favorite Captain America moment? And I know your little response there. I wish I could probably pull it up, but I'd have to scroll through and find it. But it was Captain America running by. Oh gosh, who was that? I already forgot.
Oh gosh, you don't remember who it is?
I do, but it's like.
It's that scene on your left, right? The right.
Yes.
Capital.
On your left. That was really cool.
Anthony Mackie's character who plays Falcon. Right?
I don't know. My mind just went blank.
I know. I really love that scene, and the idea that it comes up again later on in Endgame on the left. To me, I just love that.
It was great. I mean, I noticed I didn't put out my favorite moment, which I really don't know if I have a favorite Captain America moment, but it would probably have to be, at the time of Civil War, not the Civil War, but Captain America Civil War. I was kind of Team Tony Stark for a while, just because of the fact that like I liked Iron Man and I had seen all the Iron Man movies and I didn't see all the Captain America movies. But if you think about it, like it's kind of hard to pick one of those sides or not. But that scene where, Iron Man and Captain America are fighting and he's like, that's my shield, you give it back. And he just like chucks it at him or whatever. I think that was a really cool moment. I really liked that because it was like a real, well, not real, but you could feel the emotion. You could feel like how real it felt.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick a favorite moment, it would probably be that one. Or, the last moment we got from him when he's an old man, like, here you go, Sonny, here's the shield. That was really cool. Captain Mr. Rogers. Wow, that was a bad joke. Worse than the DC book that I have.
I don't know if it's quite that bad yet.
No, but I should have thought ahead of time and went out of state and got some like firecrackers and blew it up live. But who knows? Whatever. Maybe next year I'll do that.
Yeah, we definitely have fireworks that get let off here, the big ones, but they really shy away from letting people buy fireworks in certain places here, just because everything is so dry.
Yeah,
it's so easy just for one stupid spark to go and just light stuff up around here.
And isn't that what caused like one of the last major wildfires? Or was it last year, I believe, or before, where there were, so many fires all over, and it was some kid that like thought it would be funny to like blow something up or do something, and it was something so small that just set off a chain of events that just destroyed the forest.
I believe one of them was a gender reveal party, and somebody had set off fireworks for a gender reveal, and that had created a major wildfire down here. But it is one of those things where, we just know that somebody's going to do something stupid, and it's going to mean acres and acres are going to be on fire. They're going to have to deal with the smoke, and somebody's going to lose their house. That's just unfortunately kind of the way things go. It's not the way that I want to celebrate my nation's independence.
No, I mean, not burning it down.
No, I will tell you though that growing up in Portland, where it rains all the time, we bought fireworks all the time. Even as a kid, all of my allowance money we would go and buy fireworks, and even well before the 4th, and we would just set them off. And my parents were pretty lenient about letting us blow stuff up and light things on fire, and we weren't going to burn anything down. I feel bad that my kids can't have that same kind of experience.
Yeah.
So
we got a couple of comments pop up.
Yeah.
We kind of pushed back a little bit, but going back to the Captain America moments.
Sure.
Corey, who's always there for a fun little comment, that's America's ass. So exactly. I don't know if Captain America's ass is Corey's favorite, or if just the line. I mean, but hey, it is Captain America, and it is America's ass.
It for me to question Corey's decisions about what he prefers.
Yeah.
But I do love that line. I think I had posted that on either yours or somebody else's about favorite lines about Captain America, and that it comes from. I really do feel like Ant-Man was really kind of like the comic relief of the Avengers. So yeah, I've always liked that line.
And another comment comes in from my actual, I want to say former, I guess, but when I was in school for graphic design and digital media and stuff, I've talked about it on the show. Jonathan Ross, who was one of the instructors, he says, for a question for you, which moment for Captain America showed his naivety the most? And that's a hard question to answer for me.
I know.
I mean, I don't know.
I think that prior to the events of the second Captain America film, I think Captain America thought that he was doing the right thing as a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Right? And even starting with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, he was happy to go and follow orders and think that by following orders that he was doing the right thing. And we often found him kind of being manipulated by those that were above him. That's definitely one of the things that I had seen, that he kind of starts out as somebody who follows orders, and he slowly over time becomes a Captain America that follows his own heart.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I read that question, my first visual in my head was Steve Rogers, skinny and just lost and like wanting to be something, and trusting. Not to say that like don't trust the government, but he's like, oh, this super serum, oh sure, this will be fine. What could come from this? Like nothing bad could happen. I think that's probably, like you said, like in the beginning, when he trusts that this is going to happen this way, that way. It's funny that Jonathan pops up too, because we've talked about these, and I've shown you these stickers. And let's try to get close on that. I'm still going to send. I'm sending you some. I found my stamps. I bought like this whole book of stamps earlier in the year. Found them. But yeah, ordered these from. Gosh, it's so awkward to hold something in front of the camera. I ordered these from Sticker Mule.
Yeah.
Who is a really awesome company. They make good quality stuff. I mean, these are. I was going to say here, feel it, but like.
It's a little hard to reach and feel it.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to have a long reach to reach across the entire country.
They look really amazing. I've got to say, I know that you put a lot of work into the graphic design for it, and this came out really amazing, especially the detail in our photos. I just think that's pretty cool.
And Jonathan says, nice sticker. And thank you for that. But also, the reason, well, not the reason, but I've always been like a doodler. I would doodle in notebooks, I always wanted to say, like, let me create this, let me create that. And so sitting in classes and learning about design is really what gave me more of a desire to do things like podcasting, because I really went into that program, and I still want to get back in and finish, but it's been a long break. I finally realized what people mean when they say, if you take a year off, you'll never go back. It's been like 3 years.
I experienced that when I was going through school. I had just gotten married. We were pregnant with our first kid, and when my daughter was born, I took a semester off, and when that semester was done, it was so hard. I was working 2 jobs, and going back to school, man, I just knew it would be a lot easier to not go back. I did go back, and I did finish, and I'm really glad that I did. But man, I certainly understand how hard it is to stop and then.
Well, for me, I let it get in my head because graphic design I loved. It was so much fun. Sitting through and going through learning Photoshop, learning Adobe Illustrator, learning all these programs that are really awesome.
Yeah.
Learning how to do animations, little things like that all over the place, going beyond just designing a logo. And I learned a lot about script writing. And Jonathan, I think I might have told you on Facebook, or you might have seen the post, I actually wrote a screenplay. I'm not going to sit here and read it off to everybody or like push it or anything.
We don't have time.
I learned a little bit about formatting and how to structure a script a little bit from those classes, because there was a film class, and that was one of my favorite ones, the film and video production course, where we made little short videos and stuff like that. And I even played a clip of one of them months ago, a clip of my dad who says, I'm not too old to kick your ass. That came from one of those little projects in that course. So I fell in love with production and the idea of making content and putting it out there. And I've always wanted to podcast, because Kevin Smith was one of the reasons that I wanted to podcast. And while I'm mentioning that, I'm going to go ahead and send him that tweet. I'm inviting Kevin Smith to come join us. And I sent out the tweet to him with the link to come in. Who's to say what's going to happen? Will he show up? Maybe not. Maybe. It doesn't hurt.
We've really talked a lot about speaking things into existence.
Yeah.
We definitely, you don't get because you don't ask. I've heard that phrase before, and I honestly believe it. And how many times have we just simply had the audacity to ask somebody to come and join us for the show, and they say yes. Jordan Elkas, right, says yes. Bitter script reader, one of the writers for Superman and Lois, says yes. Jay and Todd from Northwood Pie, they say
Jay and Todd. Yeah. They have inspired me more to write, because I had started the process of writing roughly 3 years ago, which was probably right around the time I took a break from school. I started actually writing, because I took what I learned and was like, okay, I want to start doing this.
Right.
And then now they've helped me out, and Todd is really cool. He's always coming back and saying like, hey, great job. I'll share an idea with him, a story change. Oh, love the idea. Love it. And this is a guy that wrote Northwood Pie.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I love that movie. So to have a writer of something I love come in and acknowledge something I did and like it and spend time to help me is amazing. And the same with, August. We're going to have a huge month in August because we're going to have a writer from Superman and Lois. Also, we're going to have one of the stars of Superman and Lois. So hopefully, I'm pumped up and I'm ready to go with that.
I am over the top excited about just the connection with these actors and writers. Superman and Lois is like the hot superhero show right now, and I think this is just gonna give us more credibility. I'm super excited. I did want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Corey and I were talking just yesterday about actually driving to Irvine to go and check out Northwood Pie. I feel like we've talked about it so many times.
Yes,
we've been such fans of the movie, and the fact that it's so damn close to where we live. I feel like a pilgrimage to the Northwood Pie definitely needs to be on our list.
And you have to film or something, or shoot a little video, or take a picture, or something like that, because
you are reading my mind. That's our plan.
I mean,
yeah.
And I don't know if we'll be able to play it on here, or maybe we can do a quick live where we go on live and do it there, and you can shoot it while we're talking about. Who knows? Yeah. But I think that would be cool. Let's see. Got some stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna mention something else that it slipped my mind. Just what was it?
It was about Jordan Ellis ass, or
oh gosh, I don't know. But we're talking about so much and so many things.
I know.
Oh yeah, it was. We were talking about how many guests we've had and how many, like, it gets bigger and bigger. It seems like. But I didn't want to forget about Mark Guggenheim, who.
He was our first.
I mean, yeah, he was our first.
Right.
He feels special. But no, I mean, and Mark Guggenheim being the first is amazing because it's a huge name, and some people are like, "Who's Mark Guggenheim?" Well, I mean, I did it first. I said that because I didn't know who he was until I started watching Arrow and DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
and then I was like, "Oh, that guy."
Right. It's crazy because he's one of those kinds of people where you see his name everywhere in so many shows. I mean, the Arrowverse as we know it wouldn't exist without Mark Guggenheim, and yet I think he's one of those people that if you don't know him, you might not automatically make that connection. But as that guy put in his work.
I mean, if you want to follow Mark and kind of join in, he's a really humble guy. He's nice. He's interactive. He will eventually get back to you. He will talk to you. I'm honored the fact that I don't want to go as far as to say I consider him a friend, which I do, but I don't want to be like, oh, I know Mark Guggenheim. He's my best friend. He's my best friend. No, I don't want to say that, but I mean, he's a good dude. He will. Yeah.
I remember before we officially really met him on for the episode. I remember you and me, we were both like super nervous. You remember that? I felt like I had to almost do an intervention to calm you down.
Yeah.
How stressed out we were about we're going to meet Mark Guggenheim. And then we meet him and he's like a totally normal person who just tends to love comic books and superheroes. And, that just his passion is kind of bringing those things to life. I think that for me made me realize that as much as we like to put celebrities on pedestals, they're really just like us.
Yeah, they really are. They just have more money,
right,
and more spare time. Well, not to say they have more spare time. I don't want to generalize because a lot of them, like Mark, is super busy.
Right,
like he's always working on something, and it's still like crazy that he takes time to reply to any emails that I send. But I was going to get to the point of, you were saying we were so nervous. And the funny thing about that was back then it was audio only. We didn't have video, which is a whole other set of anxieties.
Right.
Like, oh gosh, they can see me. Like I'm going to say something that looks stupid. At least with an audio podcast, if I'm stuck, I can go and no one will see that. Right. And I was like this close to not doing it that day. I was like, I feel sick. I can't. You can go on without me, and then tell him I'm sorry. Like, but
I remember that. It was so close that we almost didn't do it, and yet we manned up and made it happen. And man, I'm so glad. And we've had Mark back on
Yeah.
Wasn't it for like our year anniversary?
It was, the 1 year anniversary of the podcast. I invited anyone who had been part of it before to come back, and not everyone could make it, which is fine, but a few people did. And it was awesome that he popped in, and that was our first video interaction with Mark. And it's cool because I remember something he said in the first episode. And then this, I had done the podcast for a while alone, and I was like just talking, and then it really became more of a show once you joined in, and then we got wonderful stickers coming out, and like all this stuff is happening because I think playing off of each other and having someone else to talk to is good. But he said something that night that really stayed with me, and it kind of gave me more of like, how do I want to say this? It gave me more confidence, I guess, of even if I feel like this show is not good or not entertaining, It doesn't matter because somebody's going to think so. And Mark said, I would never have known you guys have not been doing this only a few months, because I believe we interviewed him about a little over 1 year ago. We just passed the year mark, I think, because it was in June of 2020 when we talked to Mark the first time. And the podcast had only existed since January. And he said, I would have had no idea that you've only been doing this since January. You guys are really good at this. And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
And that goes back to a lesson. I don't know if it was the first time I heard it, but in one of Jonathan's classes, he says, fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? And like, if you don't know what you're doing, know it enough to get by, and then eventually you'll learn. But you can get a long way by just BSing your way through stuff and then learning as you go. And I think that's what I kind of did with Mark. He was like, oh man, you guys are so good at this. It's like, am I? I mean, I'm just kind of rolling with it. I don't think I'm that great, but
I remember that for Mark Guggenheim, I did I think I overstudied before he came on the show. I had Googled every bit of information. I had watched every video that he had put out there. I looked at YouTube. I made sure that when he came in, that I had a pretty good idea of what he had done in the past and what he was working on now. I wanted to make sure that I had my ammunition on the show, and I believe that at least for me, that kind of background allowed me to ask questions maybe that other people hadn't asked him before, and so I liked it. And then you had been live on social media asking people about what questions they had for him, and so us double teaming him like that. I at the time I think I wondered whether he was just being nice about us being like and not being able to tell that it was time. But I think in retrospect, I think we did a great job. I
do too. I've since then listened to that episode 2 or 3 times. I put out a YouTube version of that where it was basically just our logo and then Mark's face, and that was it. But then, we started doing the video, and I wish we would have done video a long time before that, because that would have been awesome to have him as a video interview. But I didn't really know how to do it at that point. But I mean, still, it's been a fun ride, and this kind of like sounds like it's gearing up to be like our last episode. Like, well, our memories, like the best of, like we love you, goodbye. No, it's not that.
I think that what's important is you have to know. If you don't know where you've been, how can you ever move forward and grow? And when I think about where we started with the podcast and where I see where we are now with it, it's like night and day. We've just grown so much. I think just in how you and I play off each other and relate to each other. I love the organic nature. Right. That we are just 2 normal guys that happen to be able to talk about stuff that we love. And I think that is for me what makes our podcast unique. And
I think so. And I like the dynamic, like you were saying a few minutes ago, talking about having the ammunition, and you're sitting there firing it off. And then I'm the guy in the corner going, yeah, explosions. And I think it works because I don't like doing homework. Not that I'm lazy, but it's just like if I don't write it down or have like a proper like formatted like list of something, like I'll have trouble remembering it.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you say watch an episode of a TV show and then 4 days later we talk about it, I'm sitting here trying to remember like whose names, who's this. So I think it's fun that we have that, like that kind of. I'm like I react and you inform. I guess like I
Right.
mean,
And I'm an educator.
mm,
I think that just kind of fits who I am. I can
mm,
never take my teacher hat off, and I believe that's just kind of part of what I bring to this
right,
podcast.
and I think that's why it works.
So yeah,
Because if you have both people that are like that, the show could seem a little too like it's like PBS or something like
right,
with viewers like you like
right.
and but if there's two people like me who were just like, yeah, that was so cool, it'd be like Beavis and Butthead, like,
Oh, that's so cool. Dude.
yeah, whoa. But no, I mean, I think it works. I think,
Yeah, I'm thankful that that's not what the podcast is. I do think that a lot of like classic duos, right? That you got like one person who is over the top, and then somebody else who sort of plays the straight man. Like there's one person who's the serious guy, and then that's usually how a lot of duos are, like the good cop, bad cop, sort of.
right.
I'm not sure which one that would be. I don't know whether you're good cop and I'm bad cop, or whether I'm good cop and you're bad cop.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say if anybody had to be bad cop, I think maybe I would be bad cop because I'm the cop that just like rides along and eats donuts. You're
Right.
the one like actually working cases and I'm just there.
Except, Stephen, between the two of us, I definitely look like I've had more donuts than you have.
Well, I mean that's part of it. Like I don't really eat a lot of donuts anymore. I like donuts. I'm sitting here eating some Werther's Originals.
Oh my God.
Just,
it's like you're my grandfather.
right? I'm wearing the old like golfer's cap and like eating Werther's. It's like,
oh my gosh.
oh,
I really,
see,
I don't know why I associate Werther's Original with grandparents that like give you that a quarter for your allowance, and don't eat all that at once, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bag of candy,
Right.
and I always have mints. Something I'm trying to amp up my efforts to quit smoking, and I told myself I want to.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of candy, not a lot of candy, one bag, but still. It's smoking and stuff. Those kinds of things are more psychological for me, at least. It's not so much about a chemical addiction. It's more of the like habitual effort to do something and the act of doing it. So if I get myself conditioned and used to popping candy or mints or whatever, then that'll start to override and kind of save the file over the old file or whatever.
Yeah. Are you just getting started with with quitting, or?
Yeah, I haven't actually started yet, but well, I guess you could say I'm in like the first stage. I don't know. But I struggle with it because I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then like the next day I'm like, I can't, I'm too weak. And then I keep doing it. But I think it's getting serious because when I'm buying bags of candy, and I normally don't eat candy, I was going to see if it has any like 2 pieces per serving, 13 servings. So there's like 26 pieces of candy. So, I mean, and I'm a nerd and we're both kind of nerds, but I wanted to mention something, kind of another Clerks reference. I can't seem to stop talking about Clerks or Kevin Smith. Which, come on, Kevin Smith, join us. I know you're watching out there. But in his movie Clerks, one of our past guests, Scott Schaffo, who played the Chuli's Gum representative, Kevin Smith just announced, like a few days ago or last week, that they've made now in real life Chuli's Gum.
Oh, wow. That's
and
cool.
So it's kind of cool that they're going back. I believe they're getting ready to start filming Clerks 3. And so they're putting up, like, let's see, how much merchandise can we throw on this? And I've seen people criticize them for it. I'm just like, why? You don't have to buy the gum. I mean,
yeah. Well, you know what? Haters gonna hate, right?
Haters gonna hate.
Absolutely true. Some people, no matter what you do, they're gonna criticize, and I think if nobody is going, if you're not gonna believe in something, then nobody else is going to. You just gotta make your decision and roll with it. So I'm glad that Kevin Smith is doing it.
They do have sugar-free. And I thought about buying sugar-free yesterday, but I'm a sucker for these the creamy filled ones. And I can't find, I'm sure they make them, but I haven't found the creamy filled sugar-free ones.
Right. I think the main thing is I don't want you to get away from cigarettes only become diabetic. So
right.
Just be careful.
It would be worse in a way. Not worse, but I don't know. It'd be trading one health issue for another.
Right.
But I mean, I wouldn't have to worry about other issues. But yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Like, I don't want to just down sugar constantly.
Right.
These mints are sugar free. I could just start popping a load of these in my mouth every day.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I know people who have quit smoking, and it's been great for them. It is a lot of work, but if it's something that you really want to do, again, I'll be here to encourage you. I know there are a lot of people out there that will encourage you in your decision. So I really just want to wish you luck.
And that's one reason I kind of want. I know I talk a lot about Kevin Smith, but his friend and partner Jason Mewes, Jay of Jay and Silent Bob, he was a drug addict, alcoholic, whatever, and he's been clean and sober for over 10 years.
Yeah, that's great.
And it would be really cool to have him on here. I know cigarette addiction is nowhere near the severity, which I've heard it's harder to quit than, say, other drugs, but he went through a lot more than quitting cigarettes.
Yeah.
So I would love to talk to him about that, and kind of have that. So hopefully, if you're watching this, please talk to us.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, this show's kind of, I don't want to say gone off the rails, but we've just kind of been talking, which I think is good.
Let's get back on the rails.
There went another explosion. Boom.
I'll tell you what, my dogs hate fireworks.
Oh gosh.
They don't bother me, but man, they go off, and my dogs are like super, super sensitive to it. Mm. And we've gone as far in the past as giving our dogs alcohol. Benadryl.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard Benadryl is like a pretty hot topic on social media over the last few weeks. I've been reading so many people say that. I don't mind fireworks, especially I can't really get mad on the 4th of July. Like, you stop it. I would really be the old man. I have the hat. I have the Werther's candies. Like, hooligans better cut out the noise.
Get off my lawn. Right. I certainly understand. I think the older that I get, the more I understand and kind of associate with that a little bit. But people start letting off fireworks a week before the 4th of July. And then the entire month of July, they still set off fireworks.
And it's kind of like they have leftovers for the next 6 months, because then New Year's Eve rolls around and they're still doing it. It's like,
and part of it is, we're right here in Southern California. We're only a couple hours away from Mexico. People run across the border, get fireworks, and then they bring them back. So that's a big part of it. They're just cheap and easy to get their hands on.
Honestly, if I lived there, I would probably do the same exact thing, because number one, I've never been to Mexico, so I think that'd be cool. Number two, Mexican fireworks. Yeah, please. Like some big huge rocket. Like,
I went down one summer, and that's what people did. We had stayed at a place along the beach, and they had gone and bought these big giant monster fireworks, and we literally let the fireworks off right there on the water. That was quite the experience.
I'm sure. Gosh. Okay, so this week we're going to talk about TV. But yeah, I've actually enjoyed the conversation. I think it's fun to kind of like not ignore TV and film, but to kind of mix it up a little bit sometimes and talk about real stuff. I think people like that kind of interaction. And it's fun to talk about what we're doing and what we've done and where we're going and all of that. I put together these notes in this order. I'm just like, I'm not going to follow that. But I do glance at it. And we put up a few polls a while back. Yeah. About, I think you would put one up and I put a couple of them up. And I'm going to try to share the screen here if it'll let me. I'm getting better at doing this, but I still have
I have
Like,
faith.
that's not the right button.
Oh no.
Share. There we go. There we go. I think I found it. Share screen. All right. Let's see here. Let me open up the actual file. Is it opening? I don't know.
I don't see it. I will say that that's one of the things about Twitter. There we go. That I had not played around with was asking the questions and doing the polls and kind of a way to engage people.
Here we go.
Ooh,
Take a minute.
Yeah.
Take a minute. Okay, so our first one, I don't know if this is the first one we actually posted or not. I didn't really pay attention to the timestamp on it, but just the first one I threw up here, we wrote, has the CW's The Flash become stale? And, 20 people, not a whole lot, but I mean, it was just to get an idea. 85% of the people said, yes, it's gotten stale.
Yeah.
Only 15 said no. So I'd be curious to see like that 15% of like why they thought it didn't get stale.
I mean, I think that we've certainly seen people who are they're diehard fans and they're just happy to see the Flash on TV in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the 85% are people who they know what the Flash could be, and they don't really feel like the show is currently living up to the standard that we've set for the quality of the show.
Right.
I know that's I'm in the middle. I love superhero shows, and I will watch them because I just love them. And yet, yes, I am disappointed. I feel like they have not done Flash justice, and
they really haven't. I mean, I don't know. Did you get to watch the most recent episodes, or have you?
I feel bad with traveling and everything else. I'm a little bit behind.
Okay.
I think I've got just the last episode of The Flash, but even some of the episodes that I've seen prior to that, I feel like there are just some really cheesy elements.
There are.
Yeah, I will say things like Iris and Barry's I don't know, kind of embarrassment, shyness, talking about sex.
Yeah,
like they were having sex long before they ever got married.
Right. They kind of sound like these teenagers in sex ed class. Like,
right.
He said penis.
I know.
Like
it just really, come on.
Although I don't know if you saw it, like you said, the most recent one's the one you need to catch up on, right? Because so you probably saw where Chester almost caught them.
Yeah.
Or caught them, but like he walked in after the fact, and it was awkward. And
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, it was like, really? I mean,
but it is. I mean, again, it is embarrassing if you are in a public place and you get caught. I mean, nobody wants to have anybody walk in on them in the middle of something. But even like Barry running out and getting a pregnancy test done, and he's really nervous about that. I feel like they're just overdoing it. And I don't know. I just feel like we can do better. Let me give you an example of how I think things have changed. When Flash first started, it was a show that Corey and my youngest daughter were super passionate about. My youngest daughter, Amber, watched the show religiously every single time. She was a huge fan. And then I was the one, I came late to the party for Flash. It took me, I think, a couple seasons to get involved in it. And then it became something that we all watched together because it was so good early on. And then at some point, I think maybe after like season 3 or 4, my daughter stopped watching Flash entirely.
Wow.
And for me, when she did, for me, that was just kind of a warning sign that things had gotten off the rails.
A little bit, yeah.
Again, I still love the show for what it is, but I do feel like we need a little bit of a wake up call.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, losing Tom Cavanaugh, losing Carlos Valdez. I believe that losing some of those major players that really brought just such a dynamic quality to the show. I believe they've left a big giant hole, and I'm not sure who's going to fill it. Right now, I don't think Chester or Allegra is going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could in time, depending on how long the show lasts. I think they would need a couple of seasons to really get their foot in the door and get established. But that brings up another topic I wanted to kind of go over was I was going to probably throw more of the polls up and then talk about it. But I mean, we don't have to show every poll. I mean, we interacted on Twitter. But this topic is something I really want to talk about because we've been hearing a lot of rumor over the last year-ish or 6 months that Flash season 8 will be the final season. And I had some very reliable information, but I'm not going to share that. Just none of it's 100% confirmed. It's all like speculative and like opinion based, but it seems like 8 will be the last, based on discussions and rumors and all this stuff. It all adds up. And then we saw a couple of days ago that 3 of the main cast members had renewed for season 8, which I felt like that was going to happen anyway.
Right.
Candace Patton, Jesse Martin, and who played, Danielle Panabaker. Yeah. The 3 of them are 3 of the main cast members, and they are coming back for season 8, which I thought you're not going to throw away 3 other characters. It's just going to be Barry, Chester, and Allegra. Like, that's it? Like, that's all you're going to have? No, they wouldn't do that for a final season. So if it is a final season, but oddly enough, normally by this point, near the end of the season, you usually hear about, okay, we're renewed for season 9 because they already renewed 8. They already said 8's happening. So usually by that point, before that new season starts, we know if there's going to be one after that because if they know going in this is their last, they're going to start hyping it up as their last.
Right.
We haven't heard that yet.
Yeah. What we know is that that season 8, after season 8, that's when Grant Gustin's contract is up.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's a big what if, right? I mean, if ultimately if Grant Gustin decided to leave the show, there would be no recasting him, or going on without him.
No, I think if they had another actor or character, they could replace the Flash, but not replace Barry Allen. I think they could do. If the actors were available and had the interest, I think you could do a whole season or 2 with Kid Flash.
Yeah.
But as the Flash, graduating up, it follows the comics because after Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry Allen was dead for 25 years?
Yeah.
Or 20 in real life years, not just storyline years. So it could happen on TV. And the CW is kind of going into this next phase anyway, But then again, are we going to, I got distracted. Corey says, well, you could get burned by acid,
right?
Which is what happened to Ralph Dibny, which is another thing because I posted on Twitter. We put out, do you think Hartley Sawyer deserves redemption for what he did, and which he didn't do much. He just said a lot of hateful things on Twitter. And if this is the last season, do you I don't know if I typed that or I replied to it. Either way, the conversation was there. Like, do you think he deserves, I think if it's the very last season, I think at least he deserves to come back for the finale. The very last episode is like, hey guys, I'm back. I mean, I guess that would be kind of a bad placement, bad timing. Because that's something we saw with Batwoman, sort of like Kate Kane returns. Oh, never mind, I'm going. So, I mean, I think that Kate Kane will come back later on. I don't think there's going to be a whole season dedicated to her being the star, but I think she will be back. But with Ralph, I don't know. It's hard to say, really, because I read a lot of the stuff that he tweeted out, and it was just, it's even too much for comedy, too much for joking, too much for, I was just kidding. No. Like, sorry, but that's too much.
I know. I think that what we've realized here is that even though his comments were from many years ago, right? That the fact is, man, you got to be careful what you put on the internet because somebody is going to find it and put it out there. But we've seen a lot of people who have done that, right? That they made comments in the past, and and somebody finds it, and they end up dealing with the consequences.
And it's interesting too to see that the people that do that and don't face any kind of repercussions.
Right.
I mean, it could be a lot milder or just a one-off kind of thing. But Harley Sawyer, his tweets were multiple tweets. And it wasn't just like one or two. It was like 20, 30, 40, like constant stream. I know Candace Patton had put out something, kind of, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of questionable. It's like, should she be fired? I mean, maybe, but.
I know that Candace Patton had put out some rather transphobic.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe not as much as Hartley Sawyer, but she still did. I guess the question comes down to, where do we draw the line? Right? Yeah. Is it enough that if somebody makes one bad statement on social media that is hateful or misogynistic or intolerant or bigoted, that there's the consequence? Or is there a certain number of those things? It is unfortunate that there is no redemption, right?
Yeah. I mean, people are going to only remember you at your worst, really, no matter how much progress you've made and how much you've internally redeemed yourself and changed for the better, which is the irony behind Ralph Dibny's character and Hartley Sawyer the man, because he had a redemption storyline, an entire season dedicated to giving him another chance, and then immediately after he's fired.
It's amazing that Ralph Dibny plays a character. I mean, Hartley Sawyer plays a character where he is a misogynist. He is a chauvinist pig. He is a jerk, and it was almost a case of typecasting, right? That he was the character that he was playing in some ways. However,
he did.
Yeah. I mean, again, I wish that there was a way that people could be redeemed, that they could deal with the consequences of their actions and learn from them, and then they could move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that were the case. Unfortunately, it almost seems like if you get called out for it and you lie and you try to cover it up, it's almost better off to lie.
Yeah.
Take responsibility. How often have we seen that, where somebody gets accused and they say, it wasn't me, I didn't do it?
I mean, Harvey Weinstein is a good example of that.
Right. I mean,
but
again,
he got caught, but
we're not going to get political here.
No.
We certainly have seen people, though, who get accused of something. Everybody knows they're guilty, and yet they keep going, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, and they are just allowed to keep on going. And then others get accused and they take responsibility, as they should, and they end up getting the book thrown at them, and they lose everything. And I feel like when there's no consequence for lying, and when you get punished for ultimately taking responsibility for your actions, there's something wrong with that.
I think that the part of the problem there is that, which is probably true to some degree, most people will see an actor, musician, whoever, come out and apologize. Like, I am deeply sorry for but they only apologize the minute they're caught,
right? Not
beforehand. They don't address it like, you know what, my career is doing good, I'm doing good, but I just want to say I used to be kind of racist, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry for that. Like, nobody's ever done that,
right?
And so who would?
I am so sorry for being a racist. I will never do it again. Yeah.
To give my opinion, to be honest, I think Hartley Sawyer is truly sorry.
Yeah.
But it's not me who has to forgive him. It's the people that his words affected. And I don't have the right to speak for any of those people. And so, I mean, the question of, like, should he have redemption? Should he have another chance? It isn't really a question I could, or any of us could really answer.
I mean, I guess the point is that he could get forgiveness, right? He could get revenge, or not revenge, but
revenge.
He could get redemption, and still not get his job back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because somebody is forgiven doesn't mean that things go back to the way they were.
Right.
I know that you had one of the questions you had brought up on Twitter was about the controversy with Allison Mack, right?
Yeah. Let's see. I have that article pulled up, and I was going to share that as well. I'm not going to read through the entire article, but we'll kind of show the headline and everything here.
Yeah. I feel bad. I had not been aware of the story before you had posted it.
Yeah, I mean, it came up back in, gosh, I want to say it was after Smallville had. Well, actually, it was probably going on during Smallville because she was associated with this. I'm not going to call it a cult, but a cult for years, apparently.
Yeah.
And fellow Smallville cast members had come out later on and said that, she had talked to them about this supposed women's self-help group. It's supposed to be this group that encourages women and empowers them, but it was really sex trafficking. And I don't know how much she knew she was doing at the time, or if she was also being misled or manipulated. I mean, it really has a Batwoman villain type of vibe to it.
Yeah.
I think
it reminds me of like Lana Lang a little bit, working for Edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It kind of does, and it's kind of ironic that it's Smallville related. But yeah, basically, was what that is. But the headline here, and this article is from what is that TV Line, which I don't know how credible they are. I've heard them a lot, so it's pretty much the same article that's on so many other platforms.
Right.
But the Smallville veteran Allison Mack sentenced to 3 years in prison for her role in the Nexium sex cult. And the article goes on to talk about the details behind it, but she would recruit basically and approach women about joining this group and all this stuff. And it just amazes me because she was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And she was one of the ones that stayed the longest, from episode 1 all the way to the very finale, the very, very last episode. And her and Tom Welling, I think, were the only two to actually do that. And to find out that she did all this, it's just like, and right before she was sentenced, she, of course, made the plea of, she pled guilty, like in 2018, 2019. But she pleaded to not get prison time. Like, I'm truly sorry. I won't do it again. Like, I've completely changed it. And I believe her. I really do.
Right.
But this was discussed on Twitter, and that's what I said there, too, that I believe she should be held accountable. Like, she should have to, because this was more than just going like, Twitter.com, I am racist. I do not like women. Those things aren't true for me. I was just saying. That's one thing. But to go on and literally recruit people into sex trafficking, that goes far beyond, that's Bill Cosby level, which,
right.
By the way, he's a free man now. Go figure. But I don't want to get too into that. But
now,
it's crazy.
The person who was sort of like the ringleader, wasn't he sentenced to something like 120 years?
Yeah, he was sentenced to like 100 and something years.
I guess the question comes down to, so the guy who is the ringleader gets sentenced to 120 years in prison, and Allison Mack gets sentenced to 3.
Mm.
And again, sometimes I criticize our government and our judicial system, because it seems like there are different rules depending on who you are. If you're a celebrity, there's one standard, and then for everybody else, there's yet another. And I do wonder if we were talking about anybody else other than Allison Mack, would they receive the same kind of treatment or the same kind of sentence as she did? She can't claim innocence, right?
No, she's going to be admitted guilt. I mean, I don't know what level her involvement was. She was actually facing 17 years, but ended up only getting 3 somehow, probably because of her. But she hasn't been relevant as far as her celebrity status in years.
No,
I think Smallville is kind of where it ended.
Right, but I do think that that still people recognize her. They know who she is.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And generally speaking, we see that that sometimes people strike plea deals by flipping and giving evidence about others. And I'm sure that's possible about how things work. Is that other guy got an extended sentence because maybe Allison Mack had given information about it. However,
Yeah.
3 years for something that she probably deserves at least 17 for seems quite lenient.
It does. And I mean, again, though, I don't know the depth of her involvement. I'm sure, like, I think at first she probably didn't realize what she was doing. She probably thought it was for help and a good thing. And then she got so sucked into it that manipulated it at such a level to where she just started doing it. And once she realized this is wrong, she just kept doing it. And I don't know how long it went on, but it's horrible. And it's just devastating all around. And it's funny, but not funny, but it's makes me wonder because Tom Welling, who played Clark Kent on Smallville, he just came out with this news which has been rumored for a while now. They've been discussing it. They're trying to do a Smallville animated series.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
They're actually doing it. But I don't know if it's going to be a sequel or if it's going to be like a whole reboot kind of thing. But he's trying to get himself and Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor, they're trying to get as many original cast members as possible to come and lend voices, which that would be a lot easier than all these people flying up to Vancouver to film a TV show.
Right.
And plus Tom Welling doesn't have to wear tights and he doesn't have to worry about that. And then Michael Rosenbaum, like one of the main reasons he's spoken out about quitting Smallville was, his contract was for 6 seasons. He did a 7th and then he quit. People, how dare you quit Smallville? You owe it. No, you don't. He doesn't owe us. But one of his main concerns was Vancouver. They're filming in the winter. It's cold. He has to shave his head every day.
Yeah.
I would eventually get tired of that after 7 years too. And so he doesn't have to do that on a cartoon.
It's crazy because I had not really thought about a lot of these people. They're filming in Vancouver, but they don't live there, right? Like Jordan Elsass and his family, they're from Texas.
Yep.
Could you imagine you live in Texas, but you work in Vancouver?
You basically live there for months.
Right. How on earth? I complain about having to drive 20 minutes to get to work. I could imagine driving to another country.
Yeah.
To another country. That just seems amazing.
Speaking of him, I mean, not him specifically, but kind of brings us into Superman and Lois. Oh, wait. I'm thinking of Supergirl. Never mind. I tried to catch up a little bit of Supergirl. I forgot about that show, and I know it's been off the air since, May or so. I watched the last 2 episodes. I didn't go back and watch all of them. I just kind of watched the last couple episodes to kind of get caught up to what's going on right now. And yeah, good point. Supernatural did it for 15 years.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine that drive to work 15 years.
Right.
But have you seen all the Supergirl episodes?
I have. Yeah, I'm totally caught up on Supergirl.
Now, you remember that one flashback scene where, what was that kid's name? Like her boyfriend or Kara's boyfriend or whatever, when she was like 12. He takes her up to this fortress that's like this loft. And I swear when I saw that, I'm like, that is Smallville.
Yes.
Immediately. They modeled it almost exactly like Smallville. I mean, and I loved that. That was such a good episode, too, that 2-episode little arc there where it was like the back in time, kind of like teenage Kara helping them. And that whole thing was really cool. I need to kind of watch the build up to that where she gets, the whole Phantom Zone storyline and now she's out and everything's fine. But I don't know. The show, it has a hard time keeping my interest. I love the show. I love the characters, but when it loses focus off Supergirl and the episodes I did watch, she was only in it, and I'm not counting teenage Supergirl from the past, but Melissa Benoist was only in those 2 episodes for like 35 seconds. And so in the same issue with The Flash from a few weeks ago where they went on a vacation, it was like the team members show. It wasn't even about Flash at all. He was in for 2 seconds. Like, that kind of stuff bugs me. Not that the main star has to be in every single second, every scene, but when you have entire episodes dedicated to a side character that has nothing to do with the main story.
We've definitely seen a lot of Martian Manhunter, Brainy, and Dreamer.
I like them,
and I do too. I think that I appreciate them and what they bring to the show, and it's interesting. But I do think that when you compare this season, and I think that perhaps the challenges of COVID, and and putting on a show with all of the COVID restrictions, I think that has certainly been difficult, and it's impacted a lot of shows.
Yeah,
and definitely made it a difficult situation that much harder. But when I compare it to previous seasons, it again just doesn't really match up.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I know we brought up Supernatural, and that's not necessarily a show we talk about. I think that that some people look at that show and they say that Supernatural should have stopped airing many seasons ago.
Like 6 or so, maybe. I didn't watch them all, but
I know this is controversial, especially in my house, and my wife is probably going to give me some hate about it. But I feel like Supernatural is one of those shows that just didn't know when to die. It was so popular, they just kept it going. And they kept it on life support. And I'm not saying there weren't good moments in the show, but I do feel like sometimes there are shows that I really respect them when they've got a really good beginning, they've got a fantastic middle, and they know, hey, we need to wrap this thing up. Let's give our audience the ending that they deserve. I feel like that's certainly better than just letting it go on forever, but not really going anywhere. And that's my concern. As much as I love Supergirl and The Flash, I would rather them, spin the show off into something that's fresh. Mm-hmm. It's why I think Superman and Lois is so successful, because the characters that we're familiar with, that we know, and they've put a twist on it in a way that we really hadn't thought of before. And that's why. I mean, even though we've known this version of Superman and Lois through through Supergirl and through the crossovers, I think that seeing them as a family dealing with those things, I think that is something novel that we had not really seen before.
Right.
And oh my gosh, the writing is next level. I mean, the CGI and special effects are fantastic, but really their ability to put together a good story that makes sense, that is engaging, that somehow is able to weave in, some identity politics and issues about mental health and all that kind of stuff, and yet they don't. I don't ever feel like I'm necessarily being pounded over the head with an agenda.
Right. Exactly.
And again, I believe that if people have the ability to go and include their sexual preferences or issues and integrate them wisely into shows, they absolutely should. But I still think that the writing has to come first.
Exactly. The writing is the main part of the show.
It is. It is.
That's what makes it.
But if you bash me with your agenda and you don't write it well, how often have we seen it that the agenda comes before the writing?
I think that happened with Supergirl a lot.
It did.
And that's kind of what pushed me away from that show for a bit. Not that the issues they're talking about or the agenda itself was bad or that I disagreed with it, but it was just the main focus in the writing. It didn't matter. It was basically an after-school special.
Right.
And it wasn't a superhero show. he can tell those stories and kind of push those agendas without pushing them. I love how, different shows are doing it with diversity in general, like quietly make this person a different race. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's showing representation. That's important. They're not going, look at me, 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 look at me. They're not doing that. They're just saying, hey, this is what it is. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
There was one more thing I wanted to mention. I've been reading, they're talking about doing a new X-Men, since now Disney has rights, Marvel has rights to X-Men again. They're talking about doing an X-Men, and well, how do you do that without Hugh Jackman? But they're discussing who should be Wolverine. And the idea of Daniel Radcliffe came up. Like, Harry Potter's Wolverine, we've already got Twilight Batman. Are we going to get Harry Potter Wolverine? It could work. And this is not an official actual image, but there is a artist rendering digital art of, and we tweeted this, of Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine. And honestly, it's kind of, I don't know. It could work. Let's see if I can pull that up here. He's got the look, sort of, but I'll let other people decide.
No. Come on.
This right here.
The Radcliffe as Wolverine.
Zigzag. But the funny thing about this picture that gets me is a little zigzag scar on his head.
Right.
It's like, who are they fighting? Are the X-Men fighting Voldemort? Or like what?
My gosh. He's gonna Wingardium Wolverinus. I don't know. That would just be.
It could, maybe his claws, like his adamantium claws, will be magic wands, and he just.
Let me just first say that I am one of the biggest Harry Potter fans you'll ever meet. I've read all the books at least 7 times. I've watched the movie ad nauseum. I love Daniel Radcliffe. I like all the actors and actresses from the movie. However, and I think he's an amazing actor, I just don't think that Wolverine is the right fit. Is the right fit for him.
Yeah. I don't think it would be great, but then again, I thought the same thing with Batman. All the pictures I've seen look great, but I think with Daniel Radcliffe as not Batman, but as Wolverine, good Lord, imagine him as Batman, like, hey, Joker, you're not gonna get me. But yeah, him as Wolverine, I think the thing that people stick to is Wolverine's height. In the comics, he's like 5'5" or 5'6". He's short. He's a shorter person, and then the live action Wolverine has been taller. And so they were like, oh, he's short. He's more accurate. Like, that's him. It looks, but still, I think I don't know. I don't think it would be better than some choices, probably. Like, you don't want to get like Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman to be Wolverine. Like, hello. Oh, that sounded like Mr. Bean. But like you Ron Atkins, Mr. Bean, imagine him as Wolverine. Like, oh, Mr. Bean. Mr. Wolverine. Like, oh, that fell on the floor.
I don't know. Again, I will say that there are certainly casting decisions that have been made that surprised me. For example, I'm a huge Patrick Stewart fan, and I love Patrick Stewart's rendition of Professor X. And yet James McAvoy has done an amazing job at playing the younger version of Professor X.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen is fantastic, absolutely amazing as Magneto, and yet Michael Fassbender is Magneto. And so I realize that I have my personal biases, and yet I realize that certain characters, certain actors can play characters that maybe I wouldn't have thought of. But I just have a hard time wrapping my brain around the idea.
I don't think you can cast a spell big enough to convince everybody that he'd be a good Wolverine.
I know.
I think that's a good point here. Jensen Ackles would be a better Wolverine. I think so too, honestly.
Oh my God, honey, I love you. Yes.
Right? Jensen Ackles would be a great Wolverine. I mean, a little bit darker hair, the blonde. People might get mad, like, he has black hair. I hate him forever now. He broke my heart.
Jensen Ackles, though, has like that kind of growly, growly quality to him.
I remember him from Smallville, like his exit from the show, his arc. There was another meteor shower that brought all the kryptonite and everything. Right. There was another one, and he was in the Kent house and capturing Martha Kent. That happened, and then the meteor hit the house. And then he ends up like hobbling away and falling off a waterfall or something. But like that whole episode, he was just like, Mrs. Kent, I want to kill you and your son. Like, blah, blah. And it was perfect. Like he played a good, like, bad guy. But not that Wolverine's a bad guy, but that kind of rough exterior that, like, he's got the size, he's got the look. I think he would be a great Wolverine.
Wait a minute. Was Jensen Ackles in Smallville?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he played Jason Teague, the assistant coach for the football team.
How did I not? Oh, I thought that was like living in a box or something.
I want to say that was Smallville. Gosh, what season was that? Oh, man. My brother used to know like all the seasons. Like that was season 14, episode 2 or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, he played for one season. He was Lana Lang's girlfriend, actually. There was a whole storyline.
Who was Lana Lang's girlfriend?
Yeah, he played Lana Lang's girlfriend in Smallville, and she was still in high school. She was 18 years old, but she was still in high school her last year, and he was an assistant football coach. And they were dating, and it was very controversial. And nobody should, like, don't, and Clark found out. It's like, please, Clark, don't tell. And all that kind of thing. And it was really weird. And they had a lot of episodes of them in France where she went to study abroad in France and got possessed by an evil witch lady. You know, it was some weird stuff. But yeah, he was in Smallville for a year. That was the year right before or as season one of Supernatural was starting. So he did Smallville before that.
Okay, so I will say, if it's Daniel Radcliffe or Jensen Ackles, I'm Team Jensen Ackles, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, between them, absolutely. And I think, yeah, any Jensen Ackles character could beat up Harry Potter, even with his little wand.
Right.
Because, I mean, just saying. I mean, that was a cool picture. It looked neat and everything, and like total skill because that's somebody created that, like just made that picture.
Right.
And so I think that's great talent, but
no.
And
I'm sure I can't be the only person that feels that way.
Probably not. Because I mean, I looked at it and I thought, my first reaction was like, oh, he's not that bad. But then it's like, oh wait, yeah, he kind of is bad. When I saw the scar on his head, I'm like, come on.
Maybe we're going to have Emma Watson as being Rogue, and they'll bring in Rupert Grint as Banshee. And
then, gosh, what was his name? I can never remember. Julian Albert from Flash.
Yeah.
I can never remember his name, the actor's name, but have him do something too. Like, just make it an entire Harry Potter cast or whatever.
Right. I'm sure that bringing him in would be certainly interesting. I will tell you that I certainly didn't know how to feel about having Julian Albert on the show. I think I had grown to hate him with his character, being Draco Malfoy. However, he did a really good job. As being a bad guy, and then ultimately, I think, getting redemption. So,
and so I mentioned before too, like yesterday, that I was watching the Stand remake, which I'd forgotten existed. I've subscribed to Paramount Plus a couple of different times. I had it once for a couple of months, and I was like, okay, but I didn't really watch a lot. I got it mostly for nostalgia because, growing up in the 90s, Nickelodeon in the 90s, the comedy duo of Kenan and Kel, all that, which I watched all that before I knew what SNL was really, which a kid version of that. And so many of those classic shows, Ren and Stimpy, Doug, all that stuff, Rugrats. And I didn't get rid of that. I just didn't renew it for a while. And then I kind of wanted to watch some other stuff again, and I put it up there. And last night I'm like staying up late for some reason, fighting sleep, flipping through the selections on there, and I see The Stand. And I had heard about this. This was filmed like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that, or 4 years ago. And I saw the original Stand, which had an outstanding cast. You know, Gary Sinise and
I loved the original Stand. I wrote, ironically, it begins with a global pandemic, but just a powerful message. And growing up very conservative, it was one of those movies that I was kind of shocked that my parents let me watch.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they let me watch it or whether we just watched it.
Yeah, you just saw it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, typical that you just watch something and your parents just never find out about it.
Well, I mean, originally it came on TV, I believe, on network television. And kind of like Stephen King's It, the original. I grew up thinking it was a movie.
Yeah.
But it was another miniseries. It was like 5 hours, 6 hours. And they both came on TV. So it was like, okay. But watching the new one, I lost track of episodes. They're an hour long, like 58 minutes, 59 minutes. And some of the casting choices I'm like, awesome, that is so good, or this is so good. And I didn't realize how great the original cast was either until I started looking through the list. I mean, MOON, that spells list.
Yeah.
But that character specifically so far is the one that I'm just like, really? Because this guy, I forget his name. I'll have to look it up really quick. The original Tom Cullen is the name of the character, and the original one was so much better. I mean, so much better. But my biggest concern, I guess you could say concern, with the original, not the original, but the newer one when I first heard about it was Whoopi Goldberg playing Mother Abigail.
Yeah.
And I thought, really? Because not that I don't like, well, I'm not like a super Whoopi Goldberg fan or anything, but I'm not a Whoopi Goldberg hater either, but she's just so different than the original actress that played Mother Abigail, like so different. It felt weird to me. Like Whoopi Goldberg, I don't see her as some weak, frail old lady. I see her as like a strong, like confident person. Right. So it's hard to picture that person. Whether or not you agree with her, opinions on things or not, she's outspoken and she's strong and like confident and all that stuff. And to see her in that role of like, oh, look, I'm so frail and weak. Couldn't someone help me walk? I don't buy it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being kind of, I don't know what, but I don't know. Yeah. It just seems weird.
Yeah. I forget who it was that had played that character originally. Wasn't it like Della Reese or something?
Something like that. But she was great.
I've been a fan of Whoopi Goldberg's for a long time. I loved her Guinan, and a number of her movies that she had done, years ago. I've always liked her, even though I do find her to be a little bit outspoken on things. Yeah, I think we find that in our. Don't you find it that sometimes you get a certain character stuck in your head and you can't really embrace anybody else taking on that character, even if they're good. I've certainly.
This is the case.
Yeah.
It's the case too with Tom. Oops, there it is. With Tom Cullen. Like, this does not seem like Tom Cullen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude, I've seen him in several things. There's a stupid ad there. But I've seen him in several things, and he's a great actor. I love the Orange is the New Black series, and he played one of the like jerk guards that like was responsible for killing a girl. Or not killing a girl, but like he was like stomping. He didn't care. Like he would do anything. And he was right for that character. But as Tom Cullen, he's just like, it seems forced. It doesn't. Yeah. And I keep forgetting the name of the original guy. But he was in so many things.
I will say that is the problem that I generally feel about remakes right, is that it's really really hard for a remake to really live up to the original. And
Yeah.
and if you're not going to make something better than the original, then why bother? And that's
Yeah.
always been that's always been my criticism of remakes is just man, why ruin a good movie if you're not gonna at least make it at the same level as the original.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't finished The Stand yet. I'm still working on it. It's like 5 or 6 episodes, I think.
Right.
But I mean, overall, the story's great. They do it a little bit differently than the original because the story is the same. There's still Mother Abigail, and she's giving people dreams. There's certain details they show in the new one that they did not show in the other one. Just like Fran's dad in the original movie, I think she's just dragging him down the stairs. He's already dead. In this movie, it shows him dying, which that's not really a spoiler because we know the character dies. But little bits and pieces like that, they show different things. And then some things it seems like they kind of skip over or shorten. And they like to go, you have to really pay attention to the new one because they kind of go back and forth. If you're not a fan of flashbacks or flash forwards or this and that, you might not like this, which I love that kind of stuff because it's like, it gives you the aha, like that's what they meant, like, or I don't understand. And then they throw you the details later. You're like, oh, and it makes so much more sense. And you're focused in on it.
Right.
They do that a lot.
Yeah. I like nonlinear storytelling. I think that it kind of breaks things up a little bit. And, I certainly think that can be good. Probably what I need to do, just to be fair, is just to go and watch the remake and see if I make my own mind up about it.
I like it so far. I mean, I don't want to let like the people that I like in those roles better. I don't want that to ruin the entire thing for me, which I think the story's great.
Yeah. So what other? Did we have any other polls?
We did have a few more. Let's see if I can find the screenshots of those. I know you see the best show poll. I like that one. Because all of these kind of fell in line with my opinion. Let's see here. Screens. There's a few clicks I got to make to get the screens up. Where is it? I believe that's it. Yeah. So it was what was the current best show, and 67% of people Superman and Lois. I mean, and oddly, funny enough, like Flash and Legends are on the bottom. Two of my favorite shows, but they're on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all that Superman and Lois is the top. I think I'm surprised that Batwoman ended up being the second one out of the 4.
Yeah,
I had been pretty disappointed with Batwoman. The treatment of Kate Kane's character. I think bringing Kate Kane back after they've already introduced Ryan Wilder, I think it made for chaos. And even the bringing in Wallace Day to play Kate Kane after Ruby Rose's departure, only to then essentially write her back off the show here at the end. I think that's kind of questionable.
Yeah, I liked it, but again, like finding out that that's going to be the end of it, it's like really.
Well, again, Corey had brought up a good fact that the one thing that had been missing up to this point was the idea that Kate Kane had never went out and looked for Bruce.
Yeah, talked about it, never did it.
Had been gone for 3 years when she when she became Batwoman. Never looked for Bruce, and only now she's going to go and look for Bruce. I'm like, why is it that you were more concerned with becoming Batwoman than you were with actually going out and finding Batman?
Right.
And the same thing with the team, right? the team that actually had known Bruce didn't seem to be very interested in finding him either.
Yeah.
That seemed pretty crazy. But again, to me, it feels like, okay, so Kate's going to go look for Bruce, but it's just a very convenient way of, getting her out of there. And it was, in a very real sense, it was a way for them to finally close the chapter on Kate Kane's character, and to officially pass the torch over to Ryan. You are.
Yeah. I like the way they did that. I think they needed to do that.
I think that I thought that it was necessary. But I didn't feel like they could keep playing this dance. Is Kate going to come back and become Batwoman? Is Ryan going to stay in her role? I definitely thought that they had to resolve that somehow. And even what we saw with the redemption of Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Alice gets redeemed, but she still ends up in prison.
And
I felt like, you get forgiven, right?
Yeah.
But still, how many people did she kill? I mean,
37. I have no idea. But yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and not people that deserved it. I mean, somebody literally walks into the room at the wrong time, and they end up with a knife in their throat. She certainly killed quite a few people.
Tori's saying that they are going to find out that Bruce died during season 1 while she was running around playing around Gotham, which could happen. I mean, she was like, "Oh man, if I had have just focused on him, then it would never have happened." And then he pops up and says, Bruce was in Luke's vision. Was that real near death? I think it was. I think Luke was dead or in like purgatory, which I'm like, this isn't Leanne Yu. This isn't an island. This is an office.
Right.
But that was Oliver's purgatory, I guess. And it would be different for anybody. So I think Luke saw his dad in the office because and he couldn't talk to him. I think that was his. And I think that was real. I don't think it was just like a drunken, like morphine-laced dream or anything like that.
But if that's the case, if he sees not only his father but Bruce there, wouldn't that give credibility to the idea that Bruce is really dead?
It could. I think it could. That was my first thought. I'm like, that he's in like heaven or purgatory or whatever realm that was or supposed to be. I think maybe. I don't know. Unless, other than his own father, Bruce Wayne was the one person that he looked up to the most. And maybe that's who he saw, since he couldn't see his father and couldn't talk to his father. His mind filled in the blank with Bruce. Could have been that. But I don't think Bruce was, I don't know. I don't think he was physically there. I don't think that was like the Bruce. The Bruce, that sounds weird. But I don't think that was actually him. I think it was just a vision.
I think that ultimately Bruce was symbolic of that hero that I think Luke wants ultimately to become, and as we see him, and I love the fact that he becomes Batwing, right? Yeah,
Batwing, and it didn't look that bad. Everybody's criticizing it, saying his head looks like, I don't know if you saw the finale, but you did, because that didn't happen in the finale. But his head looks like Optimus Prime. And I'm like, well, it kind of does. I mean, he's got this huge head and like these things and like the blue eye, and like his helmet literally opens up like a helmet, and it's just like, I would have rather had seen like a Batman or Batwoman style mask that was actually on his face and not like some huge helmet. Right. But
he doesn't turn into an 18-wheeler. I mean, I think what we see, it kind of makes sense that much like the Atom suit that Ray Palmer wore.
Mm-hmm.
The guy without the suit, he's not much of a fighter.
Right.
The suit on him, and now he's a badass. And I think
that reminds me a lot of Jimmy Olsen and Supergirl too, early on.
Yeah. You give the guy a costume and a shield, and
he's awesome. Yeah.
Right.
Other theories of where Bruce could be. South American country, being a recluse, possibly. I think that would be the most likely. He's just like, screw Gotham. I want to get my money and get out of here and like hang out in a jungle with some monkeys and elephants.
Let's be honest. What exactly has Gotham ever done for Bruce Wayne?
Nothing. They all hate him. Like half the town, half the city hates him because he arrested them, or not arrested them, but
it's a story of Bruce literally sacrificing himself every night, only to be hated by the police and hunted down, and not appreciated. It seems like they only like Batman when they need him.
Yeah.
As soon as he goes and saves them, he goes back to being public enemy number one. Who would sign up for that?
It's crazy. I mean, I think we may have had one more or two more. Oh, there was a couple more. Let's see. And we're getting close to wrapping things up here. We're hitting our normal time.
I know. Let's do one more.
Okay. I'll do the next one that I had pulled up. I had them not in order, but I just kind of had them lined up. We asked what was the best show out of like the HBO Max show?
Yeah.
WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, or Loki. And honestly, I've never seen Loki at this point. I need to go back and watch it. But Falcon, Winter Soldier, I loved, and WandaVision I loved. 48%. This one was almost split. Almost half the people preferred WandaVision, and then the other half, well, a little over half, enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki combined. But Loki was a pretty close second. Or, well, not close, but closer to second, with 30% of the people, a third of all the people that voted in this poll liked Loki better.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one is accurate, because like I said, I haven't seen Loki, so I can't talk about if it's accurate or not. But WandaVision, I think, was my favorite between that and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know what it was about it, but something about it made me just really love that show.
Yeah. Let me first say that what they're doing across the board with all three shows, they're all fantastic in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, what I really enjoyed, what I really enjoyed was the fact that in WandaVision, I was watching WandaVision by myself, and I watched my wife and my mother-in-law. They just were walking through the living room, and they stopped and watched the TV, and they literally. And before I knew it, I couldn't watch WandaVision by myself anymore. If the new episode came on, we were all sitting in front of the TV as a family, and I got in trouble if I watched an episode without them. I would usually watch it earlier in the day, and then I would watch it. Pizza night. We'd order the pizza. We'd all sit down and watch WandaVision as a family.
That's awesome.
And I really loved. I felt like its focus on Wanda and on Vision, characters that had really been, side characters, finally getting a chance to shine. I really, really, really liked it.
Busted.
I know, busted. Absolutely, I get called out.
You're grounded.
I'm sure I will hear about it later.
You'll have to go to summer school, which I guess you're already doing that. So
I'm doing summer school is my penance.
Yeah, there you go.
My penance. So I'm getting what I deserve, and I'll accept punishment. But at the same time, I really liked what they did with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
They were given sort of like the bosom buddies treatment, right?
Yeah.
That even bringing in Zemo, I never thought that he would be like that he would fit in as well as he did the whole thing. I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think it could have had a stronger conclusion.
Yeah, because I had the same thought, because I thought when the last episode hit, well, I watched them all at once. I watched both shows, all binged all of them back to back, because by that point they had already been released. But when I saw that last episode, I was just, okay, I can't wait to see what happens next. And wait, that's it? It looked like a transitional scene, that end scene where they're walking away, like La la la, we saved the day. La, la. That seemed like okay, that's leading to something else,
Right.
but nothing else. Like,
yeah. What's amazing about both of those, about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and about WandaVision, is they're giving us, they're like connective shows, right? They're meant to sort of set the scene for what's coming next, right? WandaVision is there to show us that magic could open a bunch of possibilities into the multiverse, and I think even just the importance of us seeing that even with Captain America either dead or somewhere else, that his legacy lives on, that the story isn't over. Loki does its own thing, right? But the what had been hinted at about the multiverse during Endgame and during WandaVision, they jump into that full board in Loki. It's clever, it's funny, it's got action, but I think in a very different way. And so you really need to see Loki. You will absolutely love it. And I'm a big Tom Hiddleston fan. So
I think he's great. I do.
Fantastic. He really is fantastic. And again, it's got, you know what? I can never tell the difference between Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson.
Yeah. Luke Wilson is, just think of him in Stargirl.
Okay.
So and then Owen Wilson is the other guy.
Yeah. So, because they just look so much alike to me.
They really do. Except for the fact that Owen Wilson's nose has been broken like 50 times, so he's the one with like the weird nose.
Yeah.
Not to put him down, I'm just saying that's a very strong characteristic.
Owen Wilson plays a character in Loki, which is really good, humorous, kind of what we expect from Owen Wilson, but I think in a really neat way. Again, if you haven't seen it, you really should. It is worth the watch.
Owen Blonde, Luke Brown.
Well, there we go. That should keep it. I'll know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been fun. We've gone a little over what we normally go, but that's great. It's fine. No Kevin Smith or Jason Mewes popped up. So
I know. Well, there's always next time.
I'm going to do that every week. I'm going to say, Kevin and Jason, come join us. And one day they're just going to show up.
I know. We will, and we'll be totally flipping out. Why don't you put up our Twitter stuff?
Yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot that.
No, we almost ducked out of here without putting our Twitter stuff up.
Almost. See, I had the file right here. So let me open that up and copy and paste. I had it ready, but then we started talking about other stuff, so I kind of like took the files away again. Right. It was a good show, though. We talked about a lot. We kind of covered some real life things and some fun things and some kind of sad and depressing things. And so we kind of hit every mark. And I'm hearing the explosions going on behind me.
We totally ran the gamut. It's still sunlight out here, so
it's crazy.
Yeah, we've got a couple more hours before
we
officially set off the fireworks around here.
I'm trying to see through this other window over here, but it's like so bright in here and so dark out there I can't see anything. But I hear them constantly, boom, 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 boom. Like
yes. So happy 4th of July to everybody out there.
Yes.
My birthday is actually on the 6th.
That's crazy. It's so close. You should have asked your parents. Could you not have pushed a little bit sooner? Would you want your birthday to be on the 4th though?
Well, you know what was cool? Growing up, we would always kind of hold back some fireworks and set off fireworks on everything.
That's cool though. I mean, it's close enough.
That was nice. I didn't mind having my birthday closer to the 4th. I've always felt bad for people though who have their birthdays right by Christmas,
December 26th or something. Yeah,
you just know that they're getting gypped, right? They're not going to get presents for Christmas and
right.
Birthday.
But then again, they might get some big mega gift or something like.
What always separated for me growing up as a kid, I know we're wrapping things up here, but as a kid growing up, what I hated was all of my friends would be on vacation over the summer. And right. So everybody's on vacation, you throw a party and you're essentially, eating your cake by yourself.
I'm like, oh man, well, ours was like more cake for me. Like,
Right.
you don't get any, you know, I don't get a present, you don't get cake.
I'm crying into my birthday cake.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Birthday to me.
My potato chips got soggy. Like, ooh, they taste salty. Well, they're supposed to. So, but yeah, Mark Guggenheim is our wonderful sponsor. He's great, and hopefully we can talk to him soon. He's been sharing on Twitter. If you do follow him, you'll see his troll hunters and all these other like advertisements and stuff he's been showing off. And I was like, this is exciting.
And we're really looking forward to his involvement with Green Lantern.
Yeah, I mean I think that's happening pretty soon. Hopefully, like I know they're still in the writing phases. I don't know if they've begun filming or not. I think they might have been, but I'm super excited about that. You can follow him at M Guggenheim. He's awesome. I try to retweet all of his like really cool things, or if I don't, I'm just like too focused on liking them. Like, ooh, this is exciting. I'll look forward to anything he puts out. You can follow us at Pod and Hard Place, which, you know, we're sharing more things like polls. If you want to interact with the polls and vote on things, you can follow us there and do that, and we'll talk about it here. Then you can follow Chris at CJ Kirk 1979 and myself at Steven_Colton. And you can visit our audio podcast website, which is anchor.fm/Between a Pod and a Hard Place. And you don't have to go there to listen to the old episodes. You can listen anywhere. I listen to our old episodes back sometimes. I listen to them on Google Podcast. I have the app on my phone. I just go to Google and it's there. That's on Apple. They're on, I think, Spotify, all those apps. You can find the show on most of those. And I'm in the process of getting all those old shows onto that audio format. I think I'm on like episode 42 or something like that right now.
Wow. How many you were talking about how many episodes we've done?
I think all in all, like there's some like bonus stuff that I don't count as an episode.
Right.
But all in all, I think we're at 57 or 58 right now.
58.
Something like that, yeah.
My God. 58.
And it's just like, what have we talked about? I mean, I think our first episode was, oh gosh, it was called Geek Time was the title that I named it, but I don't remember what we talked about. I think it was just like Flash or something. And then we had a Heroes episode, and then we started like focusing on just the Arrowverse, and then we kind of expanded back again. But it's been fun.
Right. We've done Cobra Kai. We've done
a
lot of different things.
And it's a process. I've gotten all the episodes downloaded as far as the audio downloaded. And I'm just in the process of, I'm not doing much audio editing or tweaking or anything like that. I'm just kind of like putting it out there as it was. And it's a process because you got to download the files, and then you got to upload the files to the audio editor, break them down, because the Anchor website, one file is too long. It's like an hour and a half. Sometimes they're only an hour, but the file size is too large. So you have to cut it into two parts, which is perfect because on the podcast platform, there's an ad placement. So that puts two parts together and it works out. But that whole process of doing one episode, putting it on there, takes like maybe 20 minutes. So I've been working on that during the day, and it's been fun to put those out. And eventually I'll have them all on there, and then that will be as much work later on, where I can just do one at a time instead of 20 at a time. And hopefully we'll get back to YouTube. I feel like I've abandoned YouTube.
I think that we're at a place right now where things are really taking off.
Yeah.
So being active on that platform, I think that this is a good time as any to go do that.
Right. I want to maybe we'll get back to broadcasting multiple broadcasts. You know, YouTube, Facebook, and I believe Instagram might have been the other one. I don't remember what other ones, but I'm also looking into other places too, outside of Facebook, outside of StreamYard, to where we can get some options to do more things like this. This was just a trial, a test, but I'm going to stick one of these on the back of my car, I think, and maybe get it tattooed on. No, I'm not going to go that far. But
put it on your back, or maybe on your chest.
Yeah, get like a big. I could pull a Kevin Smith move and get some hockey jerseys.
Right.
And have that big emblem on a hockey jersey, and maybe make him one and send it to him. See if he wears it. This logo, but huge, and then like, here you go, sir. Here's your hockey jersey. wear it, please. That would cost probably like $500 to make.
Probably.
Or something ridiculous. But first, Kevin, can I borrow $500 so I can make you a present?
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, this has been fun.
Absolutely. And look forward to next week's episode. I'll try to get some. I don't know if I'll watch Loki in the next week, but I'm going to try to get on there soon. I start a new job. Again, I've had weird luck with the jobs in the last year, but I'll be working within the airport. So I already fingerprinted, and I'm waiting for the call to go get my little badge thing made.
All right.
And I should be starting within the next couple of days. At least I hope so. This has been killing me being at home.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. And hopefully, summer school goes not so terrible.
I will be honest and say that I miss the interaction with the kids. That's the thing about being a high school principal is that a lot of my job is is meetings and discipline and that kind of stuff. And so I do miss teaching English, and so that's kind of cool to be able to go and do that again. But right now, I'm teaching and I'm being an administrator at the same time, and I'd be lying if I wasn't a little bit overwhelmed by that. So, anyway,
I just stuck a sticker on the side of my computer.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Well, I will look forward to getting my stickers when they're available.
I'm gonna go grab some tomorrow, hopefully, or maybe I'll just go to the post office because their envelopes are probably not that expensive. I have stamps. I just don't have anything to send them in. But hopefully they won't be too expensive. I'm sure I could go to like a cheap store, like some kind of like Family Dollar or Dollar General, like some of those types of places, and get a box for like 75 cents or something.
Oh yeah.
And then send some of those off.
Sweet.
And hopefully a T-shirt comes next.
That would be awesome.
That would be. Get two made and be like, yes. All right. Well, have a good week, and hopefully kids don't get too annoying. Which I don't know if they are or not, but
it's more of a struggle getting them to respond. We're still doing it virtual.
Oh, okay.
So getting kids just to interact at all is the challenge.
Just tell them that Harry Potter's going to be Wolverine, and they're going to be like, "What?"
We'll do it. That will do it. I'm sure.
All right. Well, you take care, and we'll talk to you next week.
Great. Have a good one.
You too.